Ever scrolled through, like, I don't know, Instagram or whatever, and seen those crazy good photos, the kind of thing that makes you want to book a flight right there?
Right.
Well, get ready for a wild ride today, because we're talking about how you can be that photographer without even leaving your couch.
Absolutely.
We're diving deep into in-game photography, those incredible shots people are getting, not out in the world, but inside video games.
Yeah.
And to help us navigate this whole digital landscape, we got expert speaker here who's going to break down how huge EE this is getting, where it's all headed, and why it might be like the future of photography, straight up.
It's great to be here. And yeah, it really is an exciting time for this art form that's emerging. I think what's really grabbing everyone's attention is, well, it's not just screenshots, right? In-game photography. It's about artistic vision. Just like if you're holding a camera in the real world, it's about composition and the light, waiting for that perfect moment. It's storytelling.
See, when I first heard about this, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was just hitting that screenshot button and that's it.
But then I saw some of these images online and was like, hold up, these are seriously impressive.
Oh, yeah.
So how is this even possible? Are the graphics in video games really getting that incredible?
Absolutely. The technology behind video game graphics, leaps and bounds, it's unbelievable. And honestly, it's getting harder and harder to see the difference between what's virtual and what's real. But it's more than just realism, you know. Some of the most stunning in-game photography leans into that fantastical side of these digital worlds.
Yeah.
Creating images you just wouldn't see anywhere else.
Right. Right. Especially in those games with like dragons flying over these crazy detailed mountains or those futuristic cities that look more real than, well, anything we've built so far. But that makes me think about how accessible this all is. You don't need some crazy expensive camera or plane tickets to some far off place to get those jaw-dropping shots. Anyone can do this.
Exactly. And I think that's a big reason why it's blowing up like it is, especially for, well, think about younger people. They've grown up in these digital worlds. It's second nature to them. So it's really making art more democratic. It doesn't matter if you've got a top-of-the-line setup or just a basic console. If you've got the eye for it, you can create something amazing.
You mentioned younger generations. Are they the ones really driving this whole thing forward? Because it feels like they're way more comfortable blurring the lines between like what we think of as real and what exists in the digital space, right?
It's really interesting to think about this generation. They've got the internet, social media, these virtual worlds, it's all blending together for them. But the cool thing is, that's bleeding into their art too. It's not just about escaping into these worlds anymore. It's about like making them their own, you know, making art within them. And tools like VR and AR, those are just taking that immersion to a whole nother level, making it even more powerful to create images in these spaces.
So let me get this straight. I could be like chilling at home, VR headset on, and suddenly, boom, I'm swimming through a coral reef or hiking in some alien jungle.
Yeah.
No scuba gear, no spaceship needed.
Exactly.
But then I can snap these incredible photos as if I was actually there. Is that what's happening?
That's it. Of course, it still takes a good eye to compose a really amazing shot, understanding light and shadow, that kind of thing. But it's so much easier to get started than it used to be. And think about it. These digital environments are changing all the time. It's like an artist's dream, a landscape that might take millions of years to form out here in the real world. They can build that in a game overnight. The possibilities are just endless.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, my mind is kind of blown right now, but could this actually like become even bigger than real world photography? Will we all be hanging up these stunning digital landscapes instead of, you know, that classic shot of the Eiffel Tower?
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what is photography going to look like in the future, you know, when we've got this whole digital world colliding with the real one?
So it's not really about one replacing the other, but more like they'll both exist and kind of change how we see photography as a whole.
Exactly. There's always going to be a place for that raw, real-world photography, capturing those human moments that just hit you in the feels, you know?
For sure.
But in-game photography, it brings something different to the table. It's this wild mix of art and technology where you can step into these fantastical places and capture stuff that could never happen in real life.
That's what I love about it. It's like instead of just capturing what's already there, you're getting a glimpse into someone's imagination, you know?
Right.
Okay, but there's another big player in all this we got to talk about, and that's AI. Seems like it's changing, well, everything these days. So how's AI shaping the future of in-game photography, you think?
Oh, it's huge. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Although there's always that worry that AI will just take over, right?
Yeah.
Make it too easy. And then where's the artistry in that?
I'll admit, that's what I was thinking too. Like, if some algorithm's setting up the perfect shot, where's the creativity?
Right, I get that.
Hmm.
But what if we look at AI not as a replacement, but as another tool in the toolbox? Like imagine it as your creative partner, helping you push your ideas even further than you could on your own.
Hmm. I like that.
Like those crazy detailed landscapes we were talking about. AI can help build those, generate tons of variations, and really stretch the limits of what you thought was visually possible.
Whoa, okay, so I'm picturing like an AI where I can be like, all right, I want dragons on the moon with an underwater city below, and it'll just make it happen.
Exactly.
Bruh.
And it's not just about making the scene either. AI can be there every step of the way, analyzing the composition, suggesting camera angles, even adjusting the lighting to get the perfect mood.
So like AI is handling the technical stuff so the photographer can just focus on the art, the feeling, the story they're trying to tell with that image.
Exactly.
But then what does that mean for the future of photography as a whole? If everyone's creating in these AI-assisted spaces, will we even be able to tell the difference between a real photo and one from like a video game world?
Now that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really makes us rethink what we even consider real
Yeah.
when it comes to a photograph.
So much to think about. It's like what even ISU real anymore when it comes to art.
Right.
Makes you wonder if like years from now, people will look back at this as this huge turning point. Kind of like when, I don't know, photography was brand new and people were blown away by just like capturing a single moment in time.
Right.
Except now we're not just capturing reality, we're building it from scratch.
It is really similar, isn't it? And just like back then, it's not even just about the technology itself, you know? It's how that changes how we see the world around us, how we express ourselves. It's about going beyond what we thought was possible and challenging our own ideas. Who knows, maybe in a few years, we'll all have these insane virtual landscapes hanging on our walls right next to our like real life photos.
And maybe those digital ones will be the ones that really make us stop and stare. But for our listeners out there who are like, okay, this is cool and all, but I'm not exactly spending my weekends fighting dragons in VR. Is there a way to enjoy this kind of art without being a gamer? Because it does feel kind of like you got to be in the know to get it.
That's such a good point. But honestly, you don't have to be a gamer at all to appreciate the artistry of it. Think of it like walking into, I don't know, an art gallery or something. You don't have to be a painter yourself to be blown away by a really powerful painting, right?
Right.
There's tons of places online where people are showcasing virtual photography. These galleries, they're packed with breathtaking stuff, landscapes, portraits, abstract pieces, all created within these digital spaces.
I think there's this idea out there that video games are all about like action and competition and stuff, but there's this whole other side to it where it's all about exploring and just being creative. It's like these games, they give you all the building blocks, the raw materials, and then the photographers, they come in and find the art that's hidden within it all.
And those photographers, they come from all walks of life. That's what's so cool about the gaming community. You got architects using games to play around with new designs, photographers using them to find totally new perspectives. There's even therapists using virtual worlds to help people overcome their phobias. It's crazy.
That's amazing. This has been such an awesome conversation. As we're wrapping up here, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to take away from all this?
More than anything, I'd say approach it with a sense of wonder. Let yourself be amazed by what happens when you bring technology and imagination together. Because that's what in-game photography is really about. It's about looking at art in a whole new way, blurring the lines between what's real and what's not, and inviting everyone to be a part of this new frontier of like visual storytelling.
I love that. And hey, maybe the next time you're scrolling through your feed and you see that one photo that really makes you stop and stare, it might not be some far off place, you know? It might just be a world made of pixels just waiting for someone to explore it. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of in-game photography, everyone. This is one adventure you don't want to miss out on.